drown out the sound of the voices.
And also there was no individual voice, it was all...
They were singing at the same time.
Yeah.
Also, it says strangely, Vata'an lahem Miriam. She answered, or she spoke. Says the Vilna Gaon, she didn't sing. She never sang. She only spoke. Brilliant answer. She spoke, but she didn't sing. Difficult. So, number one, it's problematic to go out and sing. So why bother? Secondly, the dancing is not exactly what you want the men to go out. The men aren't dancing, they're dancing. Now think about Simchas Beis HaShoeva. Chazal go to tremendous lengths in the Beis HaMikdash to separate the men and women. And who's allowed to dance? Not just the men, but the elders, the rabbis dance, not the regular people, because we're afraid it's going to get a little bit too frivolous. What did they do later at Egel? They were all dancing around, right?
Well, I thought
We don't want dancing.
I thought the women were above, like that's how it was set
Yes.
up, so.
At the end they put them above. At first they tried to separate them, put the women outside, the men inside, the women inside, the men outside. Did nothing work until they put the women up on the elevator, up above. So what do we need dancing for? Where's the tznius of dancing? Very difficult question.
Why does it call it a song if she's not singing?
It doesn't say it's a song. It says Vata'an Miriam.
It's not
She answers.
We call it Shiur.
And she only said the following, Shiru Ladimai, that's true. It says, Shiru Lashem, sing to God, Ki Ga'o Ga'as, Sus V'Rachro, or Ma'aviyam. So it's a little bit hard to say what the Gaon says, because it does say the word Shiru, but that's what the Gaon says, to obviate the problem of Kol Isha. So here's what I'd like to suggest. The purpose of Miriam's song was because Klal Yisrael got an incredible vision at the Yam Suf that they didn't anticipate. It says, Shifcha on the Yam saw more than Yecheskel and Navi saw. That's a Mechilta, right? What did they see? The answer is they saw way into the future. They saw the end game. They saw Malchut Yisrael, which happened at that moment. How do I know it happened at that moment? Because whose Malchus ended at that time? Paro. Paro ended. His forces were liquidated. We were finally fully free. We weren't free until Shvi Shel Pesach. We were on leave of absence, but we weren't free. And then now starts Malchus Yisrael. That's second. So they saw the Malchus Yisrael to the end game, all the way to the Beis HaMikdash. Moshe was the first Melech Yisrael. But then becomes Yeshua, then it's Genim, Rabbi. It's going to be a long road until we got to David and Beis Dino, until we have a Beis HaMikdash. Excuse me. And that was a very disconcerting vision, because it's great news, but it's also a little scary for right now. We're going to lose Moshe? That was the whole problem. We're going to lose Moshe. It started the minute the Yam Suf. The minute Moshe gets them out of Mitzrayim and vanquishes Paro, Moshe's already getting ready to leave. Okay. And within 1 year, there's Meraglim. 1 year later. A year and a half later is Meraglim, and Moshe's not going to... Nobody's going to Eretz Yisrael. Nobody. It's an unbelievable thing. So, here comes Miriam. What does Miriam do that she's already done before? Miriam to the rescue. What does she do? She restores their hope at a time where they're really all worried and fearful and filled with doubt. Right? How does she get her parents back together? She goes to her father and says, "You're worse than Paro." What do you mean worse than Paro? You divorced my mother, you're not going to have any more children, and you're killing the boys and the girls. Who is Paro only killing the boys? That was her nevuah. And she came to him and said, I have a nevuah. There's going to be a boy born that's going to save Klal Yisrael. Which is why she ran after him on the Yam Suf. She ran after him to watch him. Why was Miriam standing there? Because she said, I want to see what's going to be. I have this nevuah. She's described here at Kriyas Yam Suf as that same person. The one with the nevuah of Moshe. The nevuah of the first Melech. And therefore, she rallies the troops with the people who are going to listen to her. Not the men who are walking around in a daze, but The women, not some women, all the women were the Baalei Emunah, the ones that brought out the tubim. And they start making circle dances and say, you know what goes around comes around, what goes around comes around. Circle is the proof of God's existence in the world. Did you know that? Why?
There's no
What's
beginning,
divine about a circle?
No beginning, no end.
No beginning, no end. What else?
Same distance to the sin.
Correct. It's like the perfect. It's like perfection, right? It's the only perfect. And what else? Pi. Right? What does pi stand for? Is that the radius to twice the. So 2 times the radius equals circumference. But that number, pi, which will predict the circumference, is a non-ending number. It's a number that goes on forever. Did you know that? The Sum Shugana was figured out Baal Peh up to like 100,000 numbers. It's insane. It's the only number, or one of the only numbers, that perpetually repeats without ever ending in a zero. Ever.
What if a number does that?
I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. But I think there may, I don't know if there are any, there may be, but pi is one of the known numbers that never ceases to exist. So what does it bring you to? Emunah. We're going to continue to exist. Hooray, Miriam to the rescue. Now that explains a couple of things. First of all, what don't we say on the 7th day of Pesach? We don't say Hallel. Do we say it the whole Chol HaMoed? No, why not? Why don't we want to say Hallel?
Because we saw the Egyptians drowning, and it was a
Who cares?
Chol Hashem in a way for the creation.
Masa Yadai Tovim Bayam. But he said, my human beings are suffering, and you're going to sing Shira? Wait a second. What do we care? The Jewish people did sing Shira. And we sing Shira every single day. We say Az Yashir in the davening. So, no, we're not allowed to say a whole Hallel because in the 7th day of Pesach the Egyptians drowned, and therefore we're not even going to say a full Hallel the whole Pesach. Why do we care about them? Why do we care about the Mitzrayim? First of all, it's not even going on the Jewish people. It's going on the Malachim. The Malachim wanted to sing Shira. So Hashem says, listen, you guys be quiet. But he didn't say to the Bnei Yisrael, hey Moshe, shh. Hashem didn't do that. He didn't quiet down Moshe. He let Moshe sing. What's the difference? He only said it to the Malachim. So what do we care that we said it? Why does that affect our halacha? Another question. And this is the final stamp. The Haftorah always mirrors the Torah reading, right? There are a lot of very interesting songs, some of them by women, that are recounted in our Tanakh. What's the most famous songs of the Tanakh? And if you were picking a Haftorah for the 7th day of Pesach, which one would you pick? Let's get some songs of the great ladies. Devorah song, rejected. Next. Abachana's song, no good. Why not? Well, those would be very appropriate, right? Especially Devorah's song, because, Barak defeats Sisera with all the chariots. He's the guy with the chariots, more chariots, so it's a perfect fit.
Because his mother was crying.
His mother was crying, where's the chariot of my son? Right?
Right, so we can't celebrate.
Oh, you want to, hang on to that. You know which Haftorah we pick, actually? One that you would think, It says, David HaMelech sang, and we brought that on to Tehillim. It says, it's brought down and also in Malachim. It's the song that he sang, that Hashem saved him, Mikaf kol oyev, Mikaf Shaul. Yeah, that he saved from his enemies and from Shaul. And at the end, the pasuk speaks about how David was able to go on and dominate all of the enemies, the real enemies, Amalek and the other nations. But the first thing is that he was saved from Shaul. Now that's like a little bit uncomfortable. Here we are, Yontif. Everybody's nice, right? Shevis Achim Gam Yachad. Let's not wash our dirty laundry in public. And now we've got to read a Haftorah, which says that the first king tried to kill the second king. Eps Pasnish. Let's focus on the Goyim, Nope. That's the Haftorah that Chazal insisted has to be read on the Shvi Shabbos. And why? Because what does it really speak about? The minute David escapes Shaul, what does he become? Melech. What is it really speaking about? The establishment of Malchut. That's what the theme of the seventh day of Pesach is. The establishment of the Melech of Malchut, Israeli sovereignty, Jewish sovereignty. And that's why that Kapitel Tilim is the best thing, that piece of Navi is the best thing that you can read. You need to read the part of Navi, obviously. That's my own original thought, by the way. It will not be the subject of an article, but probably should be. Anyway, the point being is that Miriam comforted them and said, don't worry, there's going to be a Malchut. Like every day we daven for Malchut Beit David to be established in its fullest sense, reestablished in its fullest sense. And that's our emunah. And who carries that emunah for us? Our women. So the Bnei Yissaschar said that traditionally in the Jewish people, I didn't know this, that the elections, interesting enough, which are still not finished, right? Because nobody's formed the government yet, right? You know when you appoint the new leaders traditionally in Jewish communities for centuries? The seventh day of Pesach. They would have like a tekes in shul, and the new parnes, the new leader of the community, would be installed. Installation of officers. Seventh day of Pesach. You understand why? Because that's when the Malchut is established. We say, "V'aminu b'Hashem, u'b'Moshe avdo." Moshe was firmly established as the right and justly chosen Melech. Okay, but without Miriam, we forget that. Without Miriam's circle dances, we tend to think that, oh, when is all this going to be finally solved? And that's the matzav that we're really in. Because we're really not resolved.
Can I just say something, since you're talking about the leaders? The way that the government is not doing what they should do, and I don't mind being quoted, isn't that like Pharaoh's hardened heart?
Well, it's
almost
also
like they're big, like Hashem is steering them away from
why.
saving, really saving us, especially.
Go deeper. Why isn't it? Why is this being tolerated? Why?
Because we don't have officers, and because we're not.
Partially, and because of why? What's the reason not? What's the
Give
reason?
us more reliance on
We
our
fear the
share.
world.
Fear, because we're not independent. What do we fear? What's the big deal? These are obvious terrorists. These are the lowest people in terms of the ones that we need to put them on. Like the guy that they did take out was the one who was. Why didn't they take him out before? That's always my question.
Yes.
We did
They know.
260 terror targets. Excuse me. If you knew about terror targets, why are they there?
They were-
That's what everybody
That
says.
is always the question. We know all about those terror. We can't do anything about it. Why not? Because chas v'shalom, there's one pregnant woman under there, like they found 2 pregnant women. That's not even Israel's fault, but they're going to, of course, make a big deal about it that they thought. Because we are not sovereign. The nations of the world tell us what we are sovereign on. Okay, America is the most generous with our sovereignty, but most of the world is not, including our greatest allies. They're just not. So we are not sovereign. We do not have malchus. We have the beginnings of malchus. We have a developing malchus. I'll tell you something very positive. I know Rabbi. They said Rabbi Meyer spoke about all the great accomplishments of the state of Israel. You got to use it. I think the Balabatim make him say once a year, a drasha to show everything that we've accomplished, which is incredible. I always like to say, I was one of the 6 million. You were one of the 6 million. What does that mean? There were 6 million Jews. When we made Aliyah, there were just under 6 million Jews living in Israel in the summer of 2012. You know how many live here now? How many Jews are there in Israel now? 6,750,000. So 750,000 Jews have been added in 6 years. Less than 7 years. How much time did it take for the Jewish population to go from negligible to 750,000 Jews. Only about 2,000 years, and that just happened in 6 years. It's an incredible observation. So, and it's only going to get multiplying bigger and bigger, right? Until very, very soon, the majority of the Jewish people live here. I can't imagine it's going to be more than, I don't know, not another 6, maybe within another 6 years, if that much. And then we enter a completely different phase. At that point, Trumas and Maasros become Deoraisa, because it recognizes that the relationship between the land of Israel and the Jewish people has gone to the next level. That's what we are. We have to acknowledge the fact that, unfortunately, these attacks go on because we are not sovereign. We don't call the shots. We call some of the shots, but we're really under them. We're still under the control of Malchut Edom. We are not free of Malchut Edom and Malchut Yishmael. We're in combination. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So you have to always go back to... I just had one last thought about Poway. Besides the connection to Sderot, which I think is just beyond belief, something you have to notice. But how was the rabbi hurt?
His finger, his index finger.
Who saved him? A woman. Again, B'schus Nashim Sitkanios. And he was damaged precisely where the place is that a Kohen makes his blessing. Let's think about that. Right? Right there. These fingers. On both hands, right?
Yeah.
Both hands. As if to say, what is a Molech, which this kid was obviously infused with the spirit of a Molech. Good-looking boy, athletic, bright, on a career path, not a druggie, not a drug addict, not a lunatic,
He was an honorary
not a
student.
lunatic, right? So what is Hashem showing
His father
us?
was an elder in the church. They're doing
Oh,
some soul searching.
I would say soul churching.
Soul searching.
What does it say? Hashem is showing them it's not about the derelicts of society. It's about Amalek. Amalek is not derelict. Those are elitists. They consider themselves the best. Moral figures. What is the world saying to Israel? You are immoral. We are superior to you. We're going to tell you. And of course, the big other thing that happened was the cartoon in the New York Times.
Disgraceful.
Right? So here's another take. I don't know if anybody got this. But what was the image of the Jew? A dog, right? Leading somebody who was blind, right? What's the famous medrash about a Molech? Do you know what it is? Here's what the medrash says. Rashi brings it. He says, what's a Molech like? It says, when a child is on his father's shoulders, and he says, I don't see, where is my father? And the father gets angry with the child, throws him off, and he's bitten by a dog. So, what was that about? So that's a sign that cartoon was an Amalek cartoon. The spirit of that is Amalek. And the New York Times was unmasked. I don't really think that they care, but they did some lip service because, whatever, they got caught with their pants down.
He said sorry.
Which, it was a mistake. It was not a mistake. This is your whole paper. That editor gets paid and gets hired by you because he understands what you want him to produce. That wasn't a mistake. That was policy. So, the fact that they were defrocked, so to speak, dressed down, that is also pulling down the mask of Amalek. Another important mask that's coming down, which I think is really, really important. Well, the whole thing with the Trump's proceedings and the notion of you can make up anything you want and it's true and there's no law. right? That's what was happening here. And no collusion, no obstruction. No, it was collusion, and they're just carrying on until they get their way. You know, so that's another example of it was exposed false. Last thing is the big lie of Amalek in our days is the Palestinians. The lie is that they're the righteous ones. And the centerpiece of that lie is that their terrorists are martyrs and honorable warriors. That is the lie. And right now, that lie is being tested. Right? Because Israel took off the taxes and America took off the money and said, no, your story is false. They are not honorable freedom fighters. They are simple terrorists. That lie, if it can be crushed, and it's being challenged right now, why do you think Abbas gave back the money? What is it, crazy? Doesn't he know that that's going to make his people rebel? Because their whole story relies on it. If he doesn't do that, the whole thing collapses. Then he's ready to admit that it's all a lie. So let's hope the truth will emerge. We need a little more Miriam action out there. The other thing is, Hakedoshim to you. I'll leave you with this. Stands for the following. Going to Rabbi Yaacov. Hakedoshim, kuf, kol, your voice in davening, learning. Daled, Hakedoshim is dibur, no lashon hara. Shin, shtia, don't get drunk. Yud, yediyah, make yourself in intimacy holy. Don't run after all this nus and everything. And mem, machal, don't overeat, don't indulge yourself. Be holy. Kadoshim to you, ki kadoshani. Says the Bir Yaakov. Why does Hashem give us these rules? Because He wants to punish us and make, and finding ways to punish you? No. He's lonely for us. It's Kedushin. Medrash says, if you do this, it'll be as if Kidashti, you married me. Hashem wants to be married to the Jewish people. That's what Shavuos and Mount Torah is all about. If you're not a tzuga pasta shidduch, then there's no marriage. If you have a very fine chassan or a very esteemed kal and you bring him a low-life partner, it's not that. It's not a shidduch. Hashem wants us to be a shidduch. That's what Kedoshim to you, and that's where the women come in to elevate us, like Miriam did with Emunah and Kedusha. Because when you marry a woman, it's called Kiddushin. So we task the women to remind us men out there to be Kedoshim and to have more Emunah, that the Malchus will be redeemed in that fashion.
Also Facebook and